Hello, welcome to Kayfabe News. I'm Flippin' Marks, and this is the Raw review, or a review of Raw. Both are fine. In major news off the back of this week's show, Eddie Guerrero's son Dominic was involved in a brutal beatdown courtesy of Seth Rollins that saw the boy left so battered and bruised. We here at Kayfabe News expect word of WWE's closure to be announced imminently. Either that, or Rollins will have to be fired for attacking a minor. Coming after Dominic had brought a kendo stick to the ring as the pair signed a contract for their upcoming match at SummerSlam, it didn't end with Henry, Seth Rollins, and Eddie Murphy absolutely destroying this poor boy, knowing that father Eddie Guerrero tragically passed away in 2005, and that new father Rey Mysterio is currently blind after Rollins did indeed remove his eye from its eye socket. Why nobody else came out to help him, we don't know, but we do have it on good authority, not that authority, that Dominic is not well liked backstage after he sat in the Undertaker's chair in catering. It's long been retired after the dead man announced he was stepping away from the squared circle until WrestleMania next year. Thankfully, some good has come out of this, as Carl Reinhardt, a member of the WWE crew, has now finally realized that despite being a kendo enthusiast, he should start leaving the sticks at home. Like Evolution, it's been a mystery as to why he has decided to bring the weapon to events for all these years, but now it's really backfired for him after young Dominic was almost killed at the hands of two men who clearly should now be in jail. We here at Kayfabe News obviously send our best out to Dominic and hope that he realizes that performing at SummerSlam is a terrible, terrible idea, much like people who decide to wear wigs. The bad news continued to rain down during Raw because the group known as Retribution were back to cause yet even more carnage throughout the evening. After tipping over a box last week, which we're still reeling from, the faction threw a cinder block through a window last night, clearly inspired by their masked leader that we're 99% sure is a 14-year-old boy who is annoyed that his parents won't let him paint his room black. Our sources have also told us that this group is part of Anti-Fed, a radical left-wing posse who want to eliminate any kind of stupidity within WWE, starting with the amount of times a wrestler gets distracted by things they never would otherwise be distracted by. Later on, Retribution will also seen kicking a car, and a good suggestion would be for anyone who is attending Raw next week to ensure that they're wearing some clothes they don't care about, because we can see some serious eggs being thrown and maybe even a prank call or two. Talking about breaking the law, Shane McMahon was back once again with Raw Underground, an underground fight club that has no rules other than the women can't fight the men and vice versa. We know this because Shayna Baszler was all ready to beat up Dabba Kato when McMahon intervened, promoting the former MMA star to ruin some members of the audience. The son of Vince McMahon was fine with this, which does say a lot about his own personality and even more about his character. After doing our due diligence this week about how and why this came to be, Kayfabe News has learned that Shane McMahon was suffering from chronic insomnia until he and a mysterious new friend named only as Tyler Durden decided they should return to WWE and launch a gritty underground wrestling club. This we've seen. The major rule, other than no intergender violence, is that you don't talk about Raw Underground, which is a real conundrum for Shane, who has so far broken this for 2 weeks running. McMahon met Durden, an offbeat independent vendor of high-quality soaps, when the two were sitting next to each other on another turbulent flight after deciding they wanted to sports entertain as hard as they could. And the rest we know is history. Dabba Kato also grabbed another man's testicles during this, and I had to know, so now do you. And finally, Randy Orton tried to kill Ric Flair to end Raw, which actually bookended things quite nicely and reminded you of how important life is. I mean, we started with Seth trying to murder a child and ended with the Viper doing the same to an old man. After revealing that he believes the Nature Boy is holding him back, Randy did indeed low blow the 16-time world champion and kick him right in the skull. I'm sure he could have just asked for Rick to not walk with him to the ring anymore, but that's just not Mr. RKO's way. He's a little bit of a loose cannon. Not like Brian Pillman, but a different type of person. This seemed to be Orton reaching his final form too of Mega Randy, a human being so devoid of emotional understanding that he will wriggle his way to the WWE title like the snake that he is. We again reached out for WWE for comment on Flair's status, but are yet to hear back, although they did tell us that Montez Ford is recovering from his poisoning and that they're happy for Bianca Belair to carry on this investigation instead of, ringing the police, who would undoubtedly do a better job. Just to wrap things up, it's also a huge congratulations to Asuka, who was able to beat Bayley while avoiding distractions, roll-ups, and non-finishes to set up a match with Sasha Banks at SummerSlam for the Raw Women's title. This may sound silly of me, but I have a feeling it's not all flowers and ladybugs between the Golden Role models, but I'm sure I'm just being a worrying Walt. And that's the end of this week's Raw review. Please do keep Dominic and Ric Flair in your thoughts, as well as that one guy who had his ripped off by Dabba-Kato. Can't say apparently. Either way, it looked horrible. Please do subscribe, like, and share. Leave a comment too if you've learned how to type, and I shall see you whenever wrestling news breaks. Take care, or not. I don't really care. Actually, before I do let you go, we should also send out our good wishes to R-Truth, who did indeed become a 38 24/7 title champion after he pinned Tozawa the Ninja after Tozawa had already been in a match. I mean, I still find it fascinating that R-Truth is able to do this time and time again, and that the Ninja Clan, or whatever word we're using these days, is more interested in a green championship in World Wrestling Entertainment than, practicing Taekwondo on a mountain. I don't really know what ninjas do. The only ninjas I know are ones that are Teenage Mutant Turtles and who are trying to take down the almighty Shredder, even though deep down I would like Shredder to win. But I didn't want to end on too bad a word, so well done, R-Truth. I hope you have many, many more 24/7 title reigns in the future. Kayfabe News presented to you by our new sponsor, Stomps.com. Are you tired of waiting in line at the post office? Do you wish there was a better way? Well, Stomps.com is here to help, because with Stomps.com, you don't have to stand in line like a chump or a jabroni. You can now stomp mud holes into everyone ahead of you in line. The patented Stomps.com system, developed by wrestling legend Rugged Ronnie Garvin, teaches you how to stomp your way to a happier, faster, somewhat easier post-office experience. Big line up, no problem. Use Finn Balor's coup de grace, the double foot stomp. Old lady at the front of the line doesn't have enough saliva to lick that envelope, no sweat. Take care of the problem with a Seth Rollins curb stomp. And did you know you can use Stomps.com to create loud noises that make your punches seem more powerful? No thigh slapping required. Stomps.com, you still have to go to the post office, and you might go to jail, but at least you'll have some fun. I used Stomps.com at the post office just this morning, and boy oh boy, I got my mailing done in half the time, and I only got tased twice. Thank you, Stomps.com.